Alright, so let's start with a new project. I know that maybe you don't want to do this, but we need to practice on our setting up project abilities. So this time is going to be much faster because we have everything installed, right? So first we need to create a directory and then navigate to the directory, alright? So we're going to use this create React Native app, and there's two ways you can do it. You can create a folder, go to the window or Finder or whatever system that you're using, and create a directory and then just navigate to that directory. And this one is going to host your application. Or you can navigate to a folder and do the following. You can do create, then React, then native, and then app. And then if you want to create an application inside that directory, right? Let's call it my apps, for example. And then you want to create an app for cars, something like that, cars app. This command will create a folder, a directory, and host all the files inside that directory. Since I'm already inside my application name, my directory, I don't want to do this. I'm gonna say space and I'm gonna put a dot, and this will install everything inside project 1. So I'm gonna press enter. This is gonna take a couple minutes, so I'll be right back. Okay, so everything was installed. We're gonna be using this later. So we're gonna go step by step. Our main entry point was the app.js. So if I go to our app.js, we're gonna have all these lines. So right here at the top, the most important parts are the first 2 lines. So we still are saying import React from React. So yeah, we are running common React. But then the second line is gonna say style sheet, text and view. So now we are importing components from React Native, all right? So right here we can have export default class app and then extend React component. Maybe you know how to use this section on a different scenario. You know how to do this on a different way, and it's actually the same thing. It's still gonna work. For example, if you do this, if you import component at the top, and then you're gonna do extends and then component, this will still work. It's the same idea, different way. And for example, if you like to do this, class app extends component, and then at the bottom, export, then default, and then app, just like that, this will still work. They are the same thing, all right? Same idea. Okay, so the real different thing is going to be this style sheet, text and view from React Native. So every time we want to use, for example, a component from React Native, we need to import it, right? For example, right here we have the view, and everything it's enclosed inside of the view. So this is going to be like our main div component. When we use React, we pass only one component and inside our code. So this is how are we going to be using the view. And right here we have a text. So every time we want to render a text, we need to enclose everything by a text. We cannot do this. If you do this, you're going to get an error message. You always need to use the components that React Native is going to give you. And it kind of makes sense. For example, if you build an app for the web, you need to use the components that the browser can understand, such as HTML, maybe dips or spans, and so on. So by using React Native components, when our app is done, it will convert the text and the view or whatever it is that you're using to a code that Android can understand and iOS can understand. So this is why we need to use the tools that React Native is going to give us. If not, nothing is going to work. So of course we have a documentation for this. So I'm gonna give you the link in a minute. I'm gonna put in a section with the text so you can go to the link. So right here inside React Native docs and getting started, you have all the documentation of whatever it is that you want to do. About React Native. You have the getting started. Pretty much we already did this. But right here at the bottom, you can have the components section. And inside here is going to give you a description how to use all the components that we are using right here. We are including right here. So this is the pretty much the whole list. And we're going to be checking most of the components and checking how the components work. And later we're going to grab these components and apply something to a real world application. So first, before we can start, we need to run a simulation. We need to run the simulator. So let's do that. All right, so I'm gonna go right here to the terminal, and first we need to run the eject. Remember? So we're gonna say npm. I'm gonna say yarn because of course I'm using yarn, and then run and then eject. So this one is gonna run it, and it's gonna ask something for us. React. How would you like to create React app? Yeah, it's the first option. I like a regular React native project. So I'm gonna press enter, and this one, I don't know if I mentioned before, but it's really important. So should your app appear as on a user home screen? And again, it's gonna, when the app loads, it's gonna give you the name of the app. So this is what you're gonna put. In this case, I'm gonna say project and 1. And now the next one, what should your Android Studio Xcode project be called? And right here is giving you a reference of project 1. If you put a different name than project 1, you need to make some changes inside of Android Studio and Xcode. I will not recommend that. So you always need to use the same name of your project, your root directory. So I'm gonna say project 1. All right, so I'm gonna press enter. It's gonna take a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so first I'm gonna be running the Android and then the iOS because maybe you're in a Windows computer and you don't have access to iOS. So whenever we are done with the Android, running the simulator of an Android device, you can go to the next section. So first we need to open Android Studio. I have it right here. So we're gonna click on open an existing Android Studio project, and then you will need to navigate to your project. I have it right here, have a lot of things. So React Native, then code, then project 1. I'm gonna open here and we're gonna be selecting the Android, okay? So I'm gonna click and open. It's gonna take a minute. So it's gonna do this and I'll be right back. Okay, so after everything it's opened, and notice that right here at the bottom, you're gonna get an indexing and everything else. So you need to wait until everything is finished indexing. So then we need to go to tools, and I'm gonna go to Android and start the Avd Manager. So it's gonna give you this screen, and of course you can create a virtual device. I'm gonna use the Nexus, doesn't matter. So I'm gonna click on play, right? And it's gonna start the emulator. So I'm gonna click it, it's gonna take a few minutes, and the screen will load. It's gonna start the loading your application, and when you are on the main dock, just come back. Right, so you're gonna get this screen. So this means that this is loading. It's gonna take a couple minutes. All right, so after a few minutes, you're gonna get this screen. If you get this, everything is cool. So now what we need to do, we need to go to the terminal and install our project, our application inside the device, the simulator. So to do this, again, we're gonna go and use yarn. If you're using npm less than 5, version 4, you can safely do npm. If not, you will need to use yarn. So we need to do yarn or npm and run an Android. And again, this is going to take a couple minutes. I know this is a pain in the ass, but this is what we need to do. It will open a new tab right here, and I'm going to give you the instructions. So first, we need to wait until everything is finished right here. If this installation fails, just run it again, okay? All right, so everything is done, and right here you're gonna see, for example, you're gonna get a message if you scroll up that is gonna be saying, let me find it, I lost it. Right here, requires build tools 23, and then for faster builds, update this project. So to use the latest build tools, we're using the 23 right here, and it's not the latest one. I believe they are on the version 25 or 26 right now, but for now, this one works for us. Later, we're going to be using third-party libraries, and we will need to update the build tools. And of course, we will learn how to do this inside our project. This is not something that we do manually. We do it inside React, and then the builder is going to update everything. So I'm going to go right here. Whenever you go back to your main root directory, you need to go right here and open the simulator. So whenever we open the simulator, I'm gonna go and open right here, and we're gonna get the name of our project. And as soon as we open this, the application will start to create a build, start to bundle our project. This is gonna take a minute, and I'll be right back again. Alright, so everything works. We get this message. So if we go to the VS Code, this is the same thing we have right here. So if I change this and just delete something and, I'd say it works. Just like that, it works. And save it, and I go back to the simulator. I'm gonna select it and double tap the letter R, and it's gonna change to it works. Notice right here that it's bundling up. So everything works, right? So if you're a Windows user, you can go to the next section. If not, just stay and we're gonna do the iOS simulator. Okay, so now let's run the iOS simulator. So first you need to open Xcode. So I'm gonna click on open another project, and it's gonna take us to our project. So I'm gonna go to my course, then React Native, have a lot of courses, then code, and then project 1. And instead of selecting Android, I'm gonna select iOS. I'm gonna open, and it's gonna start, doing a lot of things, just like it happens with the Android Studio. It's gonna index everything and everything else. For now, this is cool. We don't need to do anything right here. We will be touching these files later. The same thing with Android Studio, but we're gonna learn how to do it later. So then I'm gonna go back here to my terminal, and we do the same thing. It's yarn run and then iOS, or npm run iOS. And again, this will take a few minutes depending on your computer. And remember, I'm already using a simulator, so this is taking memory of my computer. If you want to run both simulators, in Windows you're cool because you can run only one, so it uses less memory. But imagine you're running your computer, all the programs, the VS Code, the Xcode, the simulators, so it's like you're running 3 different operating systems. They are minified operating systems, but they are still an operating system. So this is going to take a lot of your computer, and sometimes you're going to listen on the video, my computer thinking, processing. You're going to listen to it. You're going to listen to the fan working. So again, I'm going to press enter, yarn or npm run iOS, and it's going to start. And it's going to take a few minutes. This one is longer than the Android. But it works a little bit better than the Android. So I'm gonna press enter, and it's gonna take a couple minutes. And like Arnold would say, "Be right back." I'll be back. Okay, so just like the other one, it's gonna open the simulator, but it's still gonna do things. So if you get this black screen, it's fine. You need to wait until this process it's done. And it's not like the Android that you need to go to the applications and open the application for the bundle to start. It's gonna start automatically. All right, so let's give it a minute. Okay, so after the process is done, right here you can have the name of your project, and notice that on desktop it's gonna be installing the file, and then of course it's gonna start loading and bundling up. Right? So again, this will take a minute. And for example, later, whenever you need to, rerun this or maybe kill it and then run it again, it's not going to take all this long. This is the first time you run it, right? It's going to install and do things on Xcode and everything else. So that's why it's taking it would take a long time. Each time, it's going to be a little bit faster. But again, this workflow is the worst part in working with these technologies. This and then the CSS. We will get to the CSS. But this one, again, it's a real pain in the ass. It's a lot of dead time. If you ask me, what do I do with my while I'm waiting for this build to work? Well, I have a guitar. I like to play guitar. So instead of just watching the process go right here, just grab the guitar and play some tunes. And maybe, just maybe, sometimes I go to the PlayStation and play a game. Because again, this will take a long time. And for example, this video, I believe it's like 15 minutes or 16 minutes long. And I've been just, chopping the video, just stopping the video to wait for this. So in real life, this took like more than half an hour. So in this course, because of course we will need to set up different projects, we're going to be doing this like 4 times or maybe 5 times tops. Sorry for that, but we will need to split sections. So okay, so it's almost done. 80%. And again, almost done. 300. No, it's going backwards. No, oh my god. Okay. Okay, it's almost done. I'm gonna pause it because it makes no sense. I'll be right back. And finally, we get the it works. So of course, if I change something on right here, it works on iOS 2, something like that. iOS 2, and I save it and I go back to the simulator. We need to press Command, to hold Command, and then the letter R, and it's gonna start again. And you know, it's really fast. Okay, everything is cool. So let's go to the next section and start with views and the styles.